Imagine having to take in a gorgeous sunset, one cloud at a time. Imagine seeing the world through a straw. You've just experienced rod cone dystrophy, a rare and incurable disease which often leads to blindness. This is the story of Bianca, a young woman in Norway, and her fight to have her eyes open.
When I was a child, I could see everything, but the field was going smaller, 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 smaller. And at the end, I only had the vision here in the central part. In 2008, I had the last examinations, and then they told me it was 10, and there it was only 15% left.
It was nothing you can do about it, and it was a serious problem. It can be worse.
Almost blind or blind.
No, that was not a nice doctor's report.
During this time, Bianca and Gerd attended a small church in Hamar, where they met Robert and Elizabeth Muren. Bianca was attracted to Elizabeth's Christ-centered confidence and had to know what her secret was.
She gave me her visit card, and then she wrote on the back side, "Go to the website of Andrew Wommack, because we have learned a lot of it. It changed my life, and I think it is what you need." We were sitting there and saw the first teaching, and it was the starting of the teaching, Spirit, Soul and Body. When I hear it, I think, why does I struggle 20 years to figure it out? And now I'm hearing all of it, and that's all I need. It was a big revelation. And it totally changed our minds and our lives. After that, we saw some other teachings. God wants you well, and also you have already got it.
We heard so much new thing, and we heard that God has do everything already, and it was a very big change in our life.
Now I realize that, okay, my eyes, I don't need to have this. Why I have these eyes if God already done it? It is finished.
This is our third tape in a series that I have entitled, You've Already Got It, and this tape is entitled, It's in the Spiritual Realm. The first two tapes.
All throughout her house, Bianca posted scriptures of God's promises to help keep her mind focused on all Jesus had provided. One day, this paid off when Andrew's revelation finally became her own.
I was sitting and reading the Bible, and then I realized that, wow, what I have, it's so amazing. And I just started to praise God about it and thank Him for everything He's done, and that He don't need to do something to heal me. That He did already do that on the cross. Andrew told, just speak to your problem. So I actually speaking to my eyes and say, eyes, you were healed in the name of Jesus. So you must see. You must see now. You are healed, you know? And then I opened my eyes, and it was just like, it was clear and unclear, but it was coming and going. But I was just praising God. I closed my eyes again, and I was praising God and thank Him for what He has done. And then I told my eyes again, you are healed in Jesus' name. And then I was opening my eyes, and they were totally clear. I could see everything. And I think, wow, that is so amazing. I could see the trees outside, the flowers, everything. It was so good. I thought I can see Gert. He was working 30 kilometers from our house. So I drove with the car to see him. And then I told him, hey, you, go with me. And then there was standing a car, maybe 20 meters, I don't know. And I told him, you know that sign? And I take the numbers of the sign of the car. And he looked at me, what's happened? I'm healed. I can see everything. It is so strange. And we were so glad, and I testing it out whole day. The first week, I had actually a headache because I seeing so much. I was totally healed, but in the days after, sometimes it just going back to the old. I was looking, and then, oh, it's not clear anymore. And then I felt like it's going till the old again. I was mad about my eyes because it was like the devil is knocking, see if I'm opened. And I say, no, I'm closed. And I say it literally. I am closed, I am healed. So eyes you must see in Jesus' name. And then, put, it's opened again. But it happened a couple of times. But now it's fine, it's never coming back again.
Bianca and her family have been forever changed after Andrew's teaching pointed them to the true gospel. Not willing to keep this to themselves, they share Andrew's message with their church every Tuesday, often accompanied by Robert and Elizabeth. To this day, they are good friends. They have also shared Andrew's teachings with Maud, a young girl who was staying with them.
She was really struggling in her life. And then she moved to us, and 3 weeks later, she became born again. We bought her some books in Holland, The New You and the Holy Spirit. It was a new process, and now in August she is moving out to going to Carrots College in Belfast.
It was very nice for us to see this change so fast and to deliver a young girl to this Bible school. It was the best for us what we can think of.
And Maud was only the beginning. Bianca and Gert are starting a ministry to help struggling young mothers in Norway keep their baby as an alternative to having an abortion. Their idea was inspired by Water Springs Ranch, an organization supported by Andrew Womack Ministries that provides Christian homes and nurturing to abused and neglected children. From seeing life through a straw to a vision certified better than 2020, Bianca now sees the world with eyes of love and compassion. Thanks to the free teachings made available by Andrew's partners, Bianca has had both her physical and spiritual eyes opened. She now uses her testimony to help others see the free gift of God's unconditional love and grace.